Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we welcome you once again to the special broadcast on Salam Media and its around the clock coverage on what is taking place in Gaza, the carnage, the brutality, the genocide that is unfolding. And alhamdulillah, for many of us, we have enjoyed a relatively wonderful Jum'ah, a peaceful Jum'ah in our local masajids together with our families. But can we for one moment imagine what is taking place in Gaza? What is the Jummah Salah like in Gaza? And this is the reason why we will continue providing coverage. We will continue raising our voices as we see voices being raised in South Africa as we speak. We've got this huge protest march that is taking place in Pretoria. We are led to believe that the ruling party, the ANC, has hired 200 buses as well to bring people into this march. And as we speak, that march is taking place. Salam Media is covering that march. Our colleagues are out there. But being this day of Jummah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a wonderful day. But also we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us the opportunity to raise our voices, the voices of truth, the voices of reason, the voices against the oceans of injustices against a nation where no other nation has suffered in totality in each and every aspect of their lives. And all of this accompanied by brutality, humiliation, degradation, deprivation, and injustice. And this is the reason why we are talking to people right across the entire world and right next door to the land of Palestine, to Al-Quds. We have got the country of Jordan. And this is where my sister Dina Abu Jbara, who is with BDS Jordan, and she is joining us right now to provide us with some updates. Sister Dina, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome and jazakallah for your time.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, brother. Thank you, Brother Inayet, for having me on this show.
Yes, Sister Dina, we were at the Jummah Salah and there was an ayat of the Holy Quran. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ. And never think of those who have been killed in the cause of Allah as dead. Rather, they are alive with their Lord, receiving provision. And despite all the carnage that we see today, it is a day of Jummah. It is an appropriate time to congratulate our martyrs who are in Jannah as we speak right now.
Sadaq Allahul Azim. As we always say, and as we always believe here and in Gaza, the martyrs are indeed alive with the mercy of God, and they are the winners. They are the true winners in this situation. It is only painful for those who are staying behind, and for all of us witnessing the injustices that are happening right now in our homeland.
Yes, and also, Sister Dina, without mincing our words, we know that this state of Israel is now a killer and a murderous state. And there is obviously no room for condemnation in passive words because it is painful. It is very, very painful to see what is unfolding in this blessed land, in this Mubarak land of Palestine. It is so painful watching the death, the destruction, and we see how merciless, how brutal this genocide has turned out to be.
Yes, absolutely. The genocide that is happening at the moment in Gaza is only a continuation of the ugly appropriation of land, the displacement of Palestinians, and the continuous massacres that have been happening since the supposed creation of the State of Israel. For Palestinians, this is not, of course, a new condition. It is just let's say an exaggeration of a daily condition that they go through in the West Bank, in Gaza, and in all of occupied Palestine. So honestly, this continuation needs to stop. It is about time that the Palestinians are given their rights, which are guaranteed by international law, and the right of return, the right of a sovereign state. However, with the continuous racism and murderous acts of Israelis. I'm not sure that this is going to happen, at least not under the international law.
Yes. Now, Sister Dina, I've often wondered because, since the Nakba in 1948, where millions of people, millions of Palestinians were kicked out of their homes, there are millions of refugees. Where you are right now in Jordan, there's refugees in Lebanon, and there's Palestinian refugees basically all over the show. And what does it feel like for a Palestinian, for a refugee, to see what is taking place inside Palestine, inside Gaza?
It is very painful, of course, for us Palestinians in the diaspora to see what is happening to our families. Some of us have direct families there. One of the houses of my direct family has been bombed in the middle of the Gaza Strip, and of course, many of us have families there. And but I think our pain is actually unified. Our pain is applicable to all the Palestinians that are suffering there, despite being of blood relation or not, due to the fact that it is appalling that the type of injustice is still going on at this time, at this century, and the whole world is just watching. There is actually no form of serious and solid intervention, neither by the surrounding countries nor by countries who claim to be in power around the world. It is very painful indeed, and it's painful for us as Muslims. It's painful for us as humans, as Arabs, as all the levels of our identities are in pain at the moment.
I'm sure, Sister Dina, that many Palestinians you mentioned in the diaspora as well, wanting to be there right now, even while this genocide and this carnage continues.
Of course, this is the case. Any Palestinian around the world, I would say that they always dream, their continuous hope and dream of going back to their lands, despite what's happening, despite all the injustice and the massacres that are happening. It is something natural. It comes naturally to any Palestinian, of course, around the world.
Sister Dina, are we surprised as to how brutal and how murderous this state, the Zionist state of Israel, has been, particularly now? Because, we haven't seen something like this. This is unprecedented. It's something that we've never seen before. And they are hell-bent. They are hell-bent in each and every way to flatten Gaza, to flatten every inch of Gaza. And they just couldn't care what it takes, who dies, and this is what they've been longing for a long time.
To be honest, it is not very surprising coming from Zionists, because Zionism has always had, since, of course, its control over the Palestinian lands, have had similar murderous and cruel massacres. For example, just right when after the UN resolution that was adopted for a two-state solution, in the Palestinian territories, right after that, in 1948, the Zionist Haganah paramilitary adopted their infamous plan, and they killed and massacred hundreds and hundreds of Palestinians, among which is the famous Deir Yassin massacre that took place also at that time. And many Palestinians, including women and children, actually died in that massacre, and many massacres, of course, that happened throughout these years. It is not surprising, because the Israeli creed, if you would call it, they have a consistent and a persisting philosophy, let's say, and it is called the iron grip. They simply would not act otherwise, because they think that in any time where they actually loosen that iron grip, the Palestinians would retaliate and they would restore their lands. The only thing that is more painful, of course, is the advancement of technology, which makes it, of course, more painful and damaging, and of course on a massive scale. But the philosophy
Well,
and the
certainly it
ideology
is.
is the same.
No, it is very, very painful. But also looking at this world of technology, what it has also done is it has exposed the Zionists for who they are, for what they are, the brutality. We've seen it with the images coming through. We've seen it with the videos. And again, we know the state of Israel was built on a lie. And they've been lying for the last 75 years, and they still lie about the brutality and about the genocide and the ethnic cleansing that they are guilty of doing right now as we speak. But how much more can a lie be told? Because what we've seen of recent times, all their lies have been debunked and they've been horribly exposed, Sister Dina.
Yes, that's certain, and I think in terms of exposing their lies, it has been known a long time ago that Israel is not really serious with the peace plans. They have just been on the same policies, on the same philosophies since they've arrived to the Palestinian territories. They've had only a persistent philosophy of playing with the, let's say, playing with the time in order for them to occupy and displace as many lands and Palestinians as possible. If you look at the history of alleged peace, the peace process, the alleged peace process, you would any person with the least of rationality would be certain that Israel was never serious about this, and they were just let's say stalling and giving the illusion to the international community that they are working for peace, but the Arabs or the Palestinians are the ones who keep breaking the peace process. It's not something new that they are not serious about this and their lies are continuous. However, it's just basically about the interests of these superpowers. America and some of the Western countries are interested in keeping Israel in the region, and all of the surrounding countries know that for certain. Because having Israel in the area will guarantee the economic dependency of the whole region to the U.S. Israel is basically just an agent working for ensuring the interests of the United States and other countries, the Western countries in this region.
Yes, also, Sister Dina, you speak about the economic interests of the countries in the region, and I'm going to get to that in about a minute or so. But yesterday, I had spoken to somebody else on an interview, and he spoke about the Palestinians. He mentioned that Palestine is not a nation. He says Palestine is a cause. It is a cause against oppression, against injustice, a cause for liberation, a cause for freedom. Now, these were the words, and this is a cause that the entire world, and especially those freedom-loving people across the entire world, those that seek justice against oppression, identify with this cause. They identify with this cause of the people of Palestine. Now, this cause, obviously, looking at the neighbors, looking at the region itself, and it appears as if it has been embraced on the ground, because we know there are thousands and thousands of people on the ground, like yourself, being in Jordan. We've seen it in many other countries around in the region. We've seen what has taken place in Bahrain. These are countries, Morocco as well. These are countries that have normalized relations with Israel, but the people on the ground obviously identify with this Palestinian cause, irrespective of what the leadership is or what the agenda is, whether it's for economic reasons or any other reason, Sister Dina.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The normalization with Israel has failed repetitively. Camp David, the Oslo accords, the Wadi Araba Treaty, of course, with Jordan as well. All of it has been done on a diplomatic, governmental level. However, it has not the least affected the stance of those nations on the ground, because people here know, and they are certain that they will never actually normalize and find the existence of these settlers normal around the region, especially with their constant acts of violence against the Palestinians, and of course what is happening in Al-Aqsa, and how they are trying to even demolish our religious institutions and our religious sites. This is very clear. It's clear cut, as you say, for anyone who is looking with an eye of freedom, that it is no secret that these settlers do not belong to the land. They are surrounded by an overwhelming population of Arabs and people who are Arab Muslims and Arab Christians, and they do not belong to this land. They are out of element in the land, and it is an obvious fact for anyone who is looking to see the facts about the struggle.
Sister Dina, just looking at where you are right now in Jordan, and just to understand the situation in Jordan on the ground, the response to what is taking place in Gaza, both from the Palestinians in the diaspora and also the local Jordanese population.
Yes. I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I think I lost some of it.
Yes, I'm just saying, looking at the situation right now and looking at where you are in Jordan, the response to what is taking place in Gaza, both from Palestinian people and also the local people of Jordan.
Yes, absolutely. They are on the same. They're on the same ground. They are on the same stance when it comes to Palestine. As you know, a big part of the population here in Jordan are from Palestinian descendants. However, the similarities anyway between the two nations similarity is too high, and so all our causes and our emotions and how we feel about this struggle is actually the same. We have had many marches and even clashes around the Israeli embassy here in Amman, and actually today there was a calling for also a march near the borders near the borders of occupied Palestine. People are extremely of course angry and emotional about the situation there, but of course, as you know, with the diplomatic relations on a political level, the regime gives a certain space for such expressions, and so this is the most that the nation is able to do with its available tools at the moment.
Yes.
On a political governmental level, there has been a consistent stance on the refusal of any attempt of displacing the Palestinians further. The king have had many diplomatic conversations with the European countries, and also I think a tour for diplomatic pressure to stop the war on Gaza. The
Well,
position of
obviously,
Jordan. Mm.
Obviously, Jordan is highly concerned because when one looks at the ethnic cleansing that is taking place in Gaza, it could easily take place, and we believe that the West Bank has been basically cordoned off as well and surrounded as well. And this morning, I had the opportunity of talking to a human rights attorney in the West Bank, and they are equally concerned, and they are also concerned that what is taking place in Gaza could easily happen to them in the West Bank region.
Of course, of course. The West Bank is also under constant, milder, let's say, dispossession, displacement. Sorry, it's actually something a lived reality for people in the West Bank. Settlements keep expanding, especially around Jerusalem. There are no horizon for keeping East Jerusalem for Palestinian sovereignty. These efforts have been fading with every year that the Israeli settlements are expanding, and so people know that the Israeli people and government, they are not there to they are not going to settle with what they got already of the land. They will not stop until they get as much of the land as physically, politically, and economically possible.
Yes, and also I think what is important to note is when we talk about this ethnic cleansing, and we know Egypt has also raised certain concerns with regard to Gaza and accommodating refugees now fleeing out of Gaza into Egypt, because Egypt is saying that we won't be able to cope. And I'm sure Jordan has got similar concerns as well, because where else would the people of West Bank go to except Jordan?
Yes, of course, of course. There has been talks of a confederation between the West Bank and the East Bank, but at least on the governmental level, this has been on a national and a governmental level, this has been rejected, and it has been said that this is not acceptable, and that no further displacement of Palestinians will take place. Of course. This whole proposal is even unrealistic, because usually confederations take place between two sovereignties, and this is not the case with Palestine. The West Bank is not a sovereignty when it comes to reality. So I don't know on what basis they call for a confederation, if even the control of the lands under the Oslo Accords is not actually fully executed. So I would say that, of course, the worst case scenario is that there would be a further mass displacement of Palestinians in the West Bank. But on the Jordanian side, the regime is very, very solid on not being able to have another Nakba, and they are not able to also take in any Palestinian refugees. Firstly, due to this being a total dismantling of the dream of having a Palestinian sovereignty, and the second is because also Jordan is not economically and socially able to absorb more refugees.
Yes. Now, this obviously brings me to the whole question of Jerusalem, Al-Quds, and Masjid al-Aqsa, because that is the ultimate game as far as the Zionist entity is concerned, the total control of Masjid al-Aqsa. And we know Jordan obviously has got some say as far as Masjid al-Aqsa is concerned. And we've heard even Hamas We've heard Ismail Haniya saying that the developments on the 7th of October was not only about Palestinians, it was not only about the Arabs, but it was also about Masjid al-Aqsa and what Masjid al-Aqsa actually means to Muslims right across the entire world. And Dina, this is a scary thought that
Mhm.
if they ever had to succeed with regard to evacuating everyone out of Gaza, if they had to basically chase everybody out of the West Bank region, can we imagine what will take place as far as Masjid al-Aqsa is concerned? Because we know the people of Al-Quds, especially those in East Jerusalem, have been suffering. We've seen so much taking place there as well over the years, the killings. And as we speak right now as well, we see a lot of brutality unfolding in Al-Quds.
Yes. Absolutely. It's the worst nightmare that the Muslims and the Arabs and any free spirit would imagine, actually, for that to happen. Um, it is it is sadly on the shoulders of the Murabitin, those who stand strong, steadfastly in Jerusalem. That's why Allah has blessed them, even in the Quran, because if it wasn't for their courage, and if it wasn't for their solid grounding there, it would have been already taken and already destroyed by Israelis. And I mean, I think, to be honest, the Ummah needs to really realize that this is not very far from happening if we do not take a collective stance on this. It is not only actually the Islamic sites that are being targeted; it's also the Christian sites, and this is why it is something that is, of course, primarily the responsibility of the Muslim nation and the Ummah, but it is also a concern for all of the people who are Christians and, of course, Jews, believing in the holy significance of this area, of the whole of Jerusalem. And I think that actually there is no way out of the destruction of Al-Aqsa, unfortunately, unless we truly act upon it, and until the Muslim nation realize that this is about to happen, and they really need to prevent it.
Yes, and you mentioned the Murabitun, and not forgetting the Murabitat, our brave sisters, Sister Dina, because often they've been in the front line in the protection of the honor and the dignity of Masjid al-Aqsa.
Of course, the Murabitat have played a major role in keeping of Al-Aqsa, and God bless their hands and their efforts. They go through daily harassment and daily violence from the IDF and the settlers, actually. And we wish we were able to assist them and be there with them, but inshallah that will be able. Inshallah, we'll be able to do that at some point.
Sister Dina, I just want to talk a bit about the Arab world and the response to the crisis. Now, we've seen a lot of anger on the ground. I mentioned Bahrain. I mentioned what's been playing out in Morocco. You spoke about Jordan. And I'm sure the sentiment is right across the entire, not only the Arab world, but also in the Muslim world. We see what has been playing out in Turkey as well. We've seen it in countries like Pakistan. Malaysia has taken a stand. And also the rest of the world. We in South Africa, I mentioned right at the beginning that we've got a massive rally today, a big march, and it is supported by our government, by the ANC government as well.
Yeah.
So we've seen all of this in terms of response on the ground. But again, coming to the leadership of the Muslim world, you spoke about economic benefit and economic considerations that the leadership have in these countries, because they have got dealings with Israel, some of them, and the rest of the West as well. And it is clear that at this point in time, the Arab leadership or the Muslim leadership around the world, apart from having their own discussions within organizations like the Arab League, the Organization of Islamic Conferences. All those discussions are taking place. But again, calling on the West, telling the West, you need to do something, calling on the United Nations, you need to pass resolution. We know what had happened with the Russian resolution. It was just vetoed. It was thrown out of the window. Now, with all of this playing out, what are the options? What other choices do we have as a Muslim Ummah?
To be honest, this is a very defeatist attitude anyway from our nations, to always wait for the solution to come from the very same direction that created the problem in the first place. Having faith that international law will resolve anything, or that the UN will be a player in the resolution of this struggle is an illusion. I think it is just basically an alibi or justification that these leaders use in order to hush their nations and to make it seem like they are actually working to resolve this. But on the contrary, it is just very it's a defeatist attitude, as I mentioned. It is there's no izzah, as we say in it. There's no confidence that we are able to be major players in this. And I think this has been a natural consequence of colonialism for this land. We have, I think, the beginning of change comes from a restoration of identity for our ummah. We need to really revisit our history with pride, and to be able to redefine who a Muslim is, the concern of the Muslim, and how what is happening in this region does not at all reflect this identity. And we need to really free ourselves from the residues of colonial thought, of this illusion that the West will be our saviors, because it's simply a colonial thought, of the fact that we are inferior to the colonial mindset as well, and inferior to the white logic. All of these problems, in my opinion, are the starting point for freeing the individual. And if the individual is freed, the land will be automatically freed. This has always been my let's say, holistic way of looking at the situation.
Well, who better to know about colonialism than us here in South Africa and many countries on the African continent who have been colonized by these Europeans and these colonizers for many, many years. And this is the reason why when you look at people that are sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, it is coming from nations like ours who have been colonized, who've seen the ugly face of apartheid, who've seen so much taking place in our countries, perhaps not at the scale that we are seeing in terms of brutality, because the Zionists have taken this colonialism, this imperialism to another level, accompanied by so much brutality, by so much killing. And this is the reason why in South Africa, we are fortunate that we've got a government, we've got many organizations, we've got trade unions that are all supportive of the Palestinian cause. We've always had a strong BDS presence in South Africa as well. And I know your involvement with BDS as well. So from that side, this is what we can also do on our side, is to continue putting pressure on our government. And to the extent that many are actually calling for total breakdown of ties with Israel, economic, diplomatic as well, to the extent that there are calls, as we speak right now, from some of the other political parties as well, to kick the Israeli ambassador out of the country.
Yes, I mean, of course, South Africa have had a very painful and rich experience with apartheid. They know best how it feels like to have violence and displacement and discrimination. And so, and it is actually worth noting that the last entity and country supporting apartheid in South Africa, despite the whole shift in global opinion, has been Israel. They are the one. It has been the last one to persistently support apartheid in South Africa, and this tells a lot that this is a mentality, and it's embedded in superiority of certain ethnic groups over others. It has been actually a reality that has been imposed also in the United States with the killing of the indigenous people there, in Canada, in Australia, and in many other places. Settler colonialism does not have a solution. It is either you either end it or you end. It's the end for the indigenous, as we can see. It's really something that is strange to see at these times still. But as you said, I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept Palestine and the struggle in Palestine in let's say the throat of humanity, in order to remind us of our morality and remind us of our sense of righteousness, and for us to correct our compass and go back to our humanity.
Well, exactly, Sister Dina. I must say it's been fascinating talking with you this afternoon right here on Salam Media. And we do appreciate you taking time out for us on Salam Media. And we continue to make dua. We continue in our unwavering solidarity with the people of Palestine. We will continue to persist in our efforts to raise awareness, to amplify our voices. And at the end of the day, we know that Allah's justice will be there. It will be swift. And when it prevails against these oppressors, they won't know what had actually hit them. So we continue making dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rectify our affairs, but also at the same time, dua for the people of Palestine, to shower them with His mercy, to give them patience, to make them steadfast, which they are already, and ultimately grant them victory over their oppressors, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. Ala inna nasrallahi qareeb. The victory of God is always soon, and the people of Palestine will eventually get theirs, inshallah. This is a promise from God, and there is no truth above His. Sadaqallah.
Ameen, Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Once again, Jazakallah khairan so much, Dina, for your time. We do appreciate you taking time out, and we wish you all the best, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam, Brother Inayet. Thank you. Ma salama.
Dina Abu Jbara joining us out of Jordan, and once again a fascinating discussion, unpacking, analyzing what is taking place in Gaza, Palestine, the broader issues. And again, we will continue right here on Salam Media to bring you a lot more over a period of time. And as I said right at the beginning, that Salam Media is committed to full-time coverage to bring you each and everything you need to know. But also at the end of the day, it is to inspire us, to motivate us to continue standing on the side of those who are oppressed. This is what Salam Media is all about. It is about humanitarian journalism, and we will bring you each and everything that you need to know with regards to humanity, but more importantly, to improve the humanity within us. And with that, I'm signing off for now. Until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.